Irene, you dirty, filthy girl. Well, gentlemen, this is Irene part 3. Irene has been fully repaired, as you guys all watched. And I said, sweetheart, it's time for you to go back to work. Daddy's got a lot of money in you. And she goes, I'm ready, Dad. I'm ready. So I had a gentleman call me from Vegas, of all places, and he bought Irene. And I said, okay. So we went down and we packaged up Irene, and we shipped off Irene. And we packaged up the tubes for Irene and sent off Irene's tubes. Amp got there first, then the tubes came, then I get this phone call. Man, I went to plug that thing in. And when I turned that switch on, arcs and sparks and shit flew out of front of it. I'm like, oh. I said, did you have the lid on? He goes, uh-huh. I went, oh. Okay. He goes, I don't have the outer armor on. I said, that doesn't matter. I said, stop messing with it. Just leave it just the way it sits. Don't put any more screws in it. Don't change nothing. For me to be able to figure out what happened, it makes it a lot easier when people don't try to cover up what they did. I don't care, shit breaks, hey, we didn't put the lid on right, something. But when people go and they change everything, then it leaves me wondering, what the hell? And then it takes 3 times as long to fix the thing, right? Now, the guy that owns this thing is a good-hearted soul. He's a good dude. He's worked at the training range down there a little bit. He's got a few problems with his health, but he's a good guy, okay? But I said, so what all happened? He goes, well, shit flew out of sparks and arcs and burning and flames and shit and stuff. And I said, okay. And he goes, then the 2 breakers on the back popped out. And I said, oh, okay. Well, then what'd you do? He goes, well, I pushed them back in. Boy, I'll never make that mistake again. And I said, well, you left the power switch on and you pushed the breakers back in? He goes, yeah. And it blew up again. I said, oh, okay. I said, don't do anything more to it. He goes, well, I'll put the lid back on it, and I'll pull the tubes out, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this. And I said, don't do any of that stuff, please. I said, unplug it, sit it in a corner, and relax for a minute. Now, I got friends in Vegas. I mean, I got some good friends in Vegas. So this is where I'm like, okay, I got to find out what's going on with my girl, because I love Irene. I got a lot of love into Irene. I mean, I got all kinds of time and energy. And to my fat bottom girl, Irene. So first I call up my homeboy, Q-Ball, my buddy. I said, homeboy, can you hook up with this guy and go get Irene? And he laughs. He goes, did somebody turn out Irene already? And I said, Irene's already been blown up. He goes, well, isn't that something? So he calls up Dude and goes over to meet Dude. Now, I told Dude, leave the armor off of it. Don't change nothing with it. Leave it alone. Exactly the way it sat when you plugged it in. I need to know what you did. It'll save me a ton of time of fixing it. Well, Kevin goes and gets this thing, Q-Ball, and then I call up my other buddy, Rodan, the transporter. I said, hey man, when will be the next time you're through Vegas? Well, it just happened to be this last week already. So here's Irene. Exactly the opposite of what I asked it to be delivered as. The customer didn't listen to me. Not at all. What the customer did is probably took the lid off, put it back on properly, put every screw in it that they could find, which I can see every screw is now in this, even though he told me I don't have the outer armor on it and I just have the lid sitting on it with some screws. All the rubber feet have been installed. It's going to make my job a little bit harder. That's okay. It's okay. I want to thank you, Kevin, Q-Ball, for helping me out get this. And I got to thank my buddy Rodan for playing transporter and going and picking this up. And let's start at the beginning here. Let's look at the power plug and make sure it's wired properly. See, it was getting hand carried to me. It wasn't like it would needed to be put in a cardboard box or surrounded by padding or anything. But everybody helped, and I really appreciate that. I really wish the amplifier would have been left in its original state. But it's okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Let's see, what do we got going on here? The very last thing I did with this thing before I sent it out of here is I wired it for 220. I slipped the armor back and I wired it over for 220. That does not look bad. Well, it's not in the plug. Let's flip it over and take some feet off, I guess. I feel like I'm doing an archaeologist hunt in Egypt or something. So needless to say, you guys are going to follow along with me as I try to figure out what happened here. I don't understand what happened. The only thing I can think is maybe one of the tubes got shorted out in shipping. But that would cause the little plate choke, the big plate choke, and a bunch of other parts to pop. So we'll see. We're going to find out here in a second. How do you want to slide off there, little girl? Come on. How? You want to not fight me today? Come on. Come on, sweetie. There it is. Okay. There it is. Okay, well, you can clearly see that this hasn't been fuckered with. Wired 220. Both the breakers have been reset. Let's go look at the top part. Okay. I see what looks like burnt up little plate choke. We'll see. Old Irene. She just wants some guy to love her till the end of her life. Just appreciate who she is for herself and don't expect her to do anything fantastic. Just sit there and do her job. She just keeps getting abused. Let's see what we got. No. Plate choke is okay. arcs and sparks and shit flying out of here, he says. I don't see it. I don't see anything blowing up or burn. Let's check diodes on the high voltage side. I had a friend of mine, his stuff blew up. I flew down there to go help him out, and I told him, I said, now listen, bud, don't clean anything. Just leave it the way it sits. And you would have thought I was asking him to... Not popped. Not popped. Not popped. That's odd. Should at least get a reading of some kind. Wow, really? Come here, wire. Nothing. First polarities. There it is. Okay. Nothing. Good. 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 I gotta check all these diodes. Let me pull the side armor off real quick. Oh, that looks burned up either. The glitch is still good. That is still good. That is good. That is good. Okay, counter facings are good. Hello. Okay. All of those are good. So, all right. That is good. That is good. That is good. That is good. Get on the damn leg. There we go. Okay, that's good. That is good. That one's good. That is good. And this last one here, not showing as a short. It's also good. So all the rectifying diodes are good. I don't see any flash burns. I don't see any tubes. Don't look like they got parts floating around in them. I'll pull them out anyhow. Let's close that up. What I thought might have happened is he ran it with the lid on it wrong. Like this, maybe. I was thinking that maybe the safety interlock hadn't been properly bypassed. Oh no, you know, you don't know that a blocker could have broke down, but usually that presents itself with this choke being burned up. Boy, I'm not seeing any of the signs that this thing is burned up. I'm not saying that it is not, and I'm not saying that there's not a problem, but I'm just not finding it on an initial, you know, evaluation. So let's go in here. Parasitics don't look like they've been arced to the cabinet. The cabinet has no obvious burn marks to it. Where there would have been burn marks up in this front corner or some residue left at least, you'd think, but take the tubes out of the equation for a moment. Slide these out and let's look at them. There's no pieces floating around in there. Okay, so there's no shorts to the grid. No filament to grid. There's no shorts in the tube that are super present. Well, isn't this something? Well, this is where we convert it over to 110 and we bring the variac into play. So I want to turn this on real slow and let's sit there and watch it, because I don't find anything screaming at me says, here I am. Here's the high voltage problem. He said shit was arcing and sparking and blowing out of here. Hell, we could have a bad capacitor. Don't know. Let's put some voltage on it and find out. Converted back for 110. On. We'll go to the high voltage mode over here. I'll feel any resistance. Our volts are starting to come up here. Fan is starting to turn. The light bulbs have lit. There's 1,000, 2,000, 2,500. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Let's let the high voltage bleed off. We'll put the tubes in it. What in the hell? So this is still up a little bit. So now we've got off, all the way down, off. Still a little bit of voltage here. Now you don't want to rush in and like be patting this around on the inside of the box, because you'll end up wiping out your glitch. That's the hardest part with tube amplifiers, is patience. Cannot get in a hurry. You're grounded right now, by the way, you guys. Everything's grounded. Okay. It's one of the things that I never bother showing you guys because it's just boring as hell to watch. Is me bleeding it down, shorting everything out before I go and I stick my hands in here. Now, we're going to physically make sure it's unplugged. And even on top of that, I kind of get a little leery. I find myself doing shit like this too, quite often. Because I don't trust. I would rather break parts than break me, you know what I mean? So we're going to slide this one in its hole. We're not going to hook up the high voltage yet. Slide this one in its hole. We're not going to hook up the high voltage yet. Because remember, this amplifier has been moved. So now we're going to pull our shorting mechanism out of the way. Now we'll reconnect our 110 volts. Turn the power on, but we're still isolated through the transformer. Just want to see if the tubes light up, which they do. Shut it back down again, isolate, and isolate. And wait, and wait, and wait some more. Bring our chicken stick back into the equation. And wait some more. Tubes are in, tubes are tied in. High voltage is coming on. Whoa. We have a bad tube. We have a bad tube. Look at this. Look at this. Bad tube, you guys. Bad tube. Check this out, guys. Let me get the view that you guys need here. Hi, babe. Hold on 1 second with me.
I want to see what they're looking at.
Bad tube. Watch this.
It's like a disco in there.
It's like a disco. Found a problem. Oh, that's awesome. Found the problem. We found the problem. No doubt about it. Okay, so it's simple. We're going to jerk the tube out, and I want to make sure it's just this tube. I want to go back and look at the videotape and make sure it's not both of them, but this thing is, that choke is junk right there, and that's okay. I got more of those. Or I have the ability to make new ones. Don't matter. The thing is that we found the problem. Okay. Bad tube. No big deal. Okay, tube is removed from the circuit. And the other tube holds high voltage, so that's what I wanted to know. It's just this one tube. Yay. Well, it left out of here working. And somewhere in shipping, this thing developed a problem. And we set this in an actual RF parts rated container, so I don't know. Let me go dig out another 3500Z, I guess. If I've got another really good one, we'll see. Okay. So I dug around and I found us another 3500Z. It's an RF parts 3500Z, but it's 100% output. So now, when I was loading this up before, I couldn't get past 20 volts on the input without that tube starting to jump. And it was at about 300 to 400 volts, right? I bet this thing made a hell of a wang. And I mean a hell of a freaking commotion when this thing was wired 220. Got good zero signal. Good low volt, good high volt. I think I'm going to call this one a win for the home team. Bad tube. Now it's going home the same way it got here. By the Rodney / Cue Ball Express. So I'm going to call Irene done. Sloppy old hoe. Sloppy old hoe. Put a brand new choke in it. Different tube. I think we're done. All I gotta do is wait for the high voltage to bleed down. I'm gonna put the lid back on it. I'm not gonna bother running it because I know that's exactly what the problem was the tube just went bad. Not what we can do about it. Convert it back over to 220 and send it out the door. Gentlemen, Irene video number 3 is done and done. We're gonna put this one in the done pile and move on with our lives. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for paying attention. Thank you guys for paying all along. Big thanks to the Patreons, by the way. You guys have been having a lot of fun over there lately. So I've been putting up quite a few posts, and everybody's really getting involved with it over there. So thanks to Siglet, Excess Power, Berg, Coaxial Dynamics, and most importantly, thanks to all of you guys. Gentlemen, I'll see you. Click, click.